Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today's video is going to be, hopefully, I did do a video like this a while back, but I'm hoping if people like this, I'll do more. And that is like an actors collection video of all of the films from specific actors that I have in my collection. And I thought I'd start off with a big actor that everybody knows, everybody likes. And I've got a lot of his films in my collection. Big, small films, I've got all sorts. Yeah, it took me a while to get through them all. There's only one that I've not actually seen, which I do want to watch at some point. But yeah, that is Tom Hanks. So I thought everybody likes Tom Hanks. He's done a lot of different films, variety of films. And I thought, yep, I'd start with him as an actor. And if people like this video, if it helps them with recommendations for their collections there, and I'll continue and do a different actor. But I'm going to go in date order of when these films were released, so I'm not ranking them. I'm just going to date them and talk about them a little bit. So apologies, this video may go on for a while because there are quite a lot, but we shall get cracking on right now. First up, from 1986, I believe. It's 1 hours 31 minutes. It stars Tom Hanks and Shelley Long, and that is The Money Pit, which was executive produced by Steven Spielberg. And it's basically, I have seen this one, it's basically about a couple who move out in kind of the sticks because they buy a home of which they think is the home of their dreams. And once they buy it, as the title suggests, it starts to become a money pit, and comedy ensues, and it's a really funny film. If you've not seen it, definitely recommend it. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, one of Tom Hanks' earliest roles. I think he only did one or two before this. I think Splash was his first big film. But yeah, one I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, that's the first in the collection. Next up, one I'm not so big on, which came out in 1987. It is 106 minutes. It stars, obviously, Tom Hanks. It stars Dan Aykroyd, Christopher Plummer, Dabney Coleman. Written by Dan Aykroyd as well, and that is Dragnet, based on the television series of the 50s and 60s. Uh, yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought it didn't fully work for me. I think I do need to give it another watch then. Basically, just about two cops trying to bring down this basically Christopher Plummer's character. I won't go into too much details, but again, comedy of errors, funny, bit of action in it, but yeah, it just didn't click for me for some reason when I watched it for the first time. But I know some people probably love it, but if you like your police comedy sort of stuff, then yeah, give it a go, I would say. Then next up, one of my favourite Tom Hanks films from 1988. It is 104 minutes long, although the extended cut is 130 minutes long. It stars, obviously, Tom Hanks, Elizabeth Perkins, Robert Loggia, and John Hurd, and that is The Fantastic Big. Love this film. It's basically about a young boy. He goes to this Soltar machine, which is like a wish him sort of machine, and wishes that he could be big. And he wakes up the next day as a fully grown man. Obviously, he's still a child inside. It's just about trying to navigate life, being a kid, but also being an adult. I think it's just such a charming film. The comedy's brilliant in it, very heartwarming. Yeah, love this film, just fantastic film. That is big. And then next up, from 1988 also. This one is 2 hours and 3 minutes long. It stars Tom Hanks, Sally Field, John Goodman, and Mark Rydell. And that is Punchline, which is basically a comedy about a housewife, a mother who really wants to be a big time comedian. And Tom Hanks basically is a big shot, self centered guy who has been trying to take the spotlight from everyone. but he kind of they get drawn into each other and sort of start to help each other with their comedy careers. And yeah, funny film, all about comedy. It's more of a drama set within the comedy world, I would say, although there are funny elements to it. It just shows that comedy is a hard line of work. It is hard to choose being a comedian as your main line of work. And yeah, I thought it was really good. Remember really enjoying it. An underrated film for sure. This is the Mill Creek release. But yeah, that is Punchline. Next up we have from... This is probably 1988 as well. Yeah, 1988. 102 minutes long. Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, Corey Feldman. You guessed it. Joe Dante film. The Burbs. Fantastic film. Love this film. Very funny. Also quite dark when you don't know what's going on. Yeah, again, I would say it's a comedy of errors again, because everything keeps going wrong. But yeah, highly recommend this if you've not seen it. Very funny film. Next up, we have from might also be 88, or maybe this is 89. I want to say this might be 89. It doesn't actually have a date on this. This is the 2013 Blu-ray release. And that is Turner and Hooch, running in at 100 minutes. Obviously, Tom Hanks. You got Craig T. Nelson in this. What's his name from Reginald VelJohnson? I forgot his name then, from Die Hard. And yeah, basically about a cop who is forced to look after this big dog, Hooch, when his owner gets murdered right at the start. And he's a very compulsive man, so living with a dog presents its challenges for him. And it's a comedy about them trying to live with each other, I suppose. More so, obviously, Tom Hanks trying to live with Hooch. But yeah, funny film, good film, a lot of laughs, and a good story. Again, quite heartwarming, quite sad ending as well. That is Turner and Hooch. Now, this is the only one that I own that I haven't seen. Don't know why I've not got round to it yet, but this is from 1992. It runs at 128 minutes, and as with all of these, stars Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Madonna, Laurie Petty, John Lovitz, David Strathairn, Gary Marshall, and Bill Pullman in a Penny Marshall film, League of Their Own. Yeah, I've not seen this one yet. I don't know why, because as you see, I like Tom Hanks. I've seen all of his films pretty much that I've got. But it's about a women's baseball team in the 40s during the war, because all the men are obviously at war, so they form an all-American girls baseball team. But I think from what I've seen, they're not great. It's based on a true story though. Yeah, I'll get around to this soon because I'm a big fan of Tom Hanks. Then from 1993, one of my favourite romantic comedies, runs at 105 minutes. That's Sleepless in Seattle, co-starring Meg Ryan, Rosie O'Donnell, Rita Wilson, Rob Reiner, Bill Pullman again. Yeah, really delightful film this is. If you like your romantic comedies, one of the best, one of the very best, yeah. Always puts me in a good mood when I watch this. About two people, about a man who is a widow, or is it a widower, and his son calls him in on a radio show to try and get him to... He wants him to have a new wife, basically, I think. And he becomes a hit with all the female listeners. And Meg Ryan plays this writer for a paper, I think, or something. And she's given the task to find out who he is and try and find out more, because she kind of connects with his story. And it's about them trying to meet with each other, I suppose. And yeah, really enjoyed this one, Sleepless in Seattle. Also 1993, the film which won Tom Hanks his first Oscar. Coming in at 125 minutes, also starring Denzel Washington, that is Philadelphia, one that I definitely need to upgrade to 4K at some point. You also have Jason Robards, Mary Steenburgen, and Antonio Banderas in this. Music by Howard Shore, and it's a heartbreaking film about two lawyers. Tom Hanks plays a lawyer who is diagnosed with AIDS, and his firm gets rid of him because of it. So he goes to Denzel Washington's character, who's very apprehensive because he's not too sure what AIDS is at a time when disinformation was given, and a lot of people who suffered from AIDS were being discriminated against. And he basically fights for Tom Hanks to overcome the prejudice and the discrimination in the workplace and fight for what's right. And it's a beautiful film, beautiful story about a friendship that occurs between them throughout. And yeah, I love this film. Only seen it the once, but definitely will be going back to it again. That's Philadelphia. Then, if you've seen my channel, you probably know what's coming up next. It's my favourite film of all time. I'm not going to babble on about it for too long, especially because I know Roy hates it. So, and apparently Jodie does now, we found out last night. So that's two people that don't like it, but each to their own. Everyone can like different things. It's all part of the fun. But that is 1994's Forrest Gump. Also starring Robin Wright, Sally Field, Gary Sinise, McKelty Williamson. Just a fantastic cast. Obviously Robert Zemeckis, written by Eric Roth, score by Alan Silvestri. Perfect film in my opinion. My favourite film of all time. Nothing will ever surpass this, I don't think. I don't want to say never, but I would think it would be very, very hard for me to enjoy a film as much as I do Forrest Gump. But yeah, I'm not going to go any more about that. Then 1995, another fantastic film, just a classic here. Runs at 2 hours, 20 minutes. Also stars Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, Gary Sinise, and Ed Harris, and that is the fantastic Apollo 13. Love this film, Ron Howard film about the first men to go into space. I think they fly around the moon. Obviously, you've got the famous line, Houston, we have a problem. Yeah, just a fantastic film. Really like this film. And it was nominated for 9 Oscars at the time. And I don't think I've sat down and watched the 4K yet. So I should probably get around to doing that soon. Next up, 1995 again, is 81 minutes. Co-stars Tim Allen. I don't think it says who else. Oh. Laurie Metcalf, Annie Potts, John Ratzenberger, Don Rickles, Wallace Shawn, and Jim Varney. Music by Randy Newman. You've guessed it, Toy Story. Classic film. The first Pixar film. One of the best animated films of the time. Well, since then, it's one of the best. Probably franchise trilogy there is out there. Yeah, love this film. And then from 1998, we have a film that runs at 169 minutes and co-stars Edward Burns, Matt Damon, Tom Sizemore, just off the top of my head, Paul Giamatti's in it, I think, Vin Diesel. Fantastic film. Saving Private Ryan, Steven Spielberg. Just what can you say about this that hasn't already been said? One of the best war films ever made. Brilliant, that opening bit. Very brutal. Just a fantastic, well-made, put-together film. Again, got to go and watch this again soon because I love that film. Then again, I want to say this was 1998. Runs at 119 minutes. And again, co-stars Meg Ryan, Parker Posey, Gene Stapleton, Dave Chappelle, Steve Zahn, Daphne Coleman, and Greg Kinnear in Nora Ephron film You've Got Mail, this being a German import. I did show this on my imports video. I love this film. Up there with Sleepless in Seattle for me. Just to really put you in a good mood. Romantic comedy. So yeah, recommend that one. And then from 1999, 92 minutes, the same cast as the first one, Toy Story 2, with the addition this time of Joan Cusack as Jessie. I don't know if anyone else, it doesn't actually say any of the cast on this one. Yeah, probably my favourite of all of them, maybe the one I've watched the most growing up. Yeah, because obviously there was such a big gap between this and the next one. Obviously this and the first one was the one I watched the most growing up, because I was at the right age. But yeah, just another fantastic film. Then next up we have from 1999, running at 188 minutes, co-starring David Morse, Bonnie Hunt, Michael Clarke Duncan, James Cromwell, Michael Jeter, Graham Greene, Doug Hutchinson, Sam Rockwell, Barry Pepper, Jeffrey DeMunn, Patricia Clarkson, and Harry Dean Stanton. What a cast. Music by Thomas Newman, favourite composer of mine, based on a Stephen King novel, written and directed by Frank Darabont. You guessed it, it is The Green Mile. And this is the lovely, I think it was like a HMV set that they did when they released it on 4K. And I thought, because I love the film so much, I'd dip and get it. The only one that I have actually got, but well worth the money. Fantastic film about a prisoner. He's as what you would call a gentle giant who has been convicted for the murder of 2 young girls, which he says he didn't do. He's very childlike himself, and it's about Tom Hanks, who plays the prison guard, who kind of starts a friendship with him, learns about his life a bit. It's just a beautiful, wonderful film. Very sad, very heartbreaking though, but what a film, The Green Mile. Next up from 2000, coming in at 144 minutes, co-starring Helen Hunt and Nick Searcy, we have Castaway, another great film. Tom Hanks obviously carries this film because he is primarily the only actor in it. Just a really well made film and not boring at all, flies by even though obviously it is just him for most of the film. Just seeing him trying to survive, slowly kind of losing it, and then obviously getting rescued at the end. Spoiler, sorry if you haven't seen it. But he plays a FedEx systems engineer. His plane crashes on a remote island, so he's got to try and survive on his own. And yeah, really great, well done film. Another great Robert Zemeckis film. Down there. From 2002, running at 112 minutes, we have co-stars Paul Newman, Jude Law, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Stanley Tucci, and Daniel Craig. A Sam Mendes film, Road to Perdition. What a fantastic film. Probably my favourite Sam Mendes film. About a young boy, he witnesses something that he shouldn't have, and then the mob are coming after him. So along with his father, who works for the mob, they have to go on the run, escape them. Paul Newman's like the head of this mob family. You've got I think Daniel Craig plays one of his sons. You've got Jude Law, who plays like this hitman that they kind of employ to try and get rid of Tom Hanks and his son. It's just a beautiful film, really well made. Again, very sad ending, but fantastic nonetheless. Then also from 2002, another great film from Tom Hanks, running at 141 minutes. We have obviously Leonardo DiCaprio, Christopher Walken, Martin Sheen. Pretty sure Amy Adams is in this as well. Yeah, quite a lot of actors that aren't actually mentioned on here, but I don't know. But that's Steven Spielberg's Catch Me If You Can. Fantastic film based on a true story about Frank Abagnale Jr., who basically it was crazy life. He was a pilot, a lawyer, a doctor, basically conning people. Basically, that was what he did, basically. And this was all before he turned 21, so younger than me. Yeah, just a great film. Tom Hanks plays, is it Hanratty? Frank Hanratty, I think his name is, who's the agent that goes after him. And yeah, just a great cat and mouse film. Love that one. Then next up from 2004, coming in at 96 minutes, co-starring, doesn't have any co-stars actually, another Robert Zemeckis film, The Polar Express. One that I used to love as a kid. watching it now as an adult, not so much. The animation's a bit ropey, bit weird for me. And yeah, just the story doesn't work, but still got it. I do try every year to get through it, but sometimes I just can't be bothered. But yeah, that little boy, or basically children that get selected to ride on the Polar Express to the North Pole on Christmas Eve to meet Santa and I think they get a present early. And yeah, it's just about the journey. Yeah, that's the Polar Express. Then next up, 2006 now, at 174 minutes. Oh, that's a long one. Co-starring Audrey Tautou, Ian McKellen, Alfred Molina, Paul Bettany, and Jean Reno. Another Ron Howard film. We have The Da Vinci Code, the only one of the trilogy I've actually got. I do need to get the other two because I do quite enjoy them. In this he plays Robert Langdon, who is a symbologist who joins up with a cryptologist played by Audrey Tautou to solve a murder mystery that takes them all the way back to the Da Vinci Code. That's all I'll say. Ian McKellen plays an acquaintance of Tom Hanks. Jean Reno is the detective on the hunt for them because he thinks they've got something to do with the murder that it's all centered around. And Paul Bettany's this rogue assassin that's been hired to basically find what they're looking for before them. And yeah, great film, this one. Not a lot of people like it, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one. That is The Da Vinci Code. Then jump in a bit to 2010, another sequel. This one, 102 minutes. All of the original cast coming back. And that is Toy Story 3. This time they've been given to basically sent to daycare. Andy's got too old and they meet some new friends in daycare, but everything is not as it seems. Very heartwarming again, as of all the Toy Story films. If this had been the last one, perfect ending. Another fantastic film, Toy Story 3. Then next up from 2012, running at 98 minutes, co-starring Julia Roberts, Bryan Cranston, Cedric the Entertainer, Taraji P. Henson, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Wilmer Valderrama, and Pam Grier. We have Larry Crowne, also directed by Tom Hanks. Story of second chances, second shots at life. I did mention this on the live stream. He basically plays a man who is at a crossroads in his life. He's let go from a job that he's been with for years, and he decides to go back to college. So he goes to like a community college, develops a crush on his teacher, played by Julia Roberts, and you can kind of guess what's going to happen. But I love it. I think it's a fantastic film. The chemistry between Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts is excellent. Because I think they did this, Charlie Wilson's War, which I still need to get. But I don't think they've done anything else together. But their chemistry is excellent. So that's Larry Crowne. Then, maybe that was 2011, because this was definitely 2011 this came out. Runs at 129 minutes, co-stars Sandra Bullock, Thomas Horn, Viola Davis, John Goodman, Jeffrey Wright, and the great Max von Sydow. That is Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. It's a story of a young boy who finds a key that his late father, who died in the World Trade Center during 9/11, has left for him, and it sets him on a quest across the city to find secrets, to find the lock that the key opens. And he finds this elderly man that lives across the world who's got a past as well, played by Max von Sydow. Beautiful film, this. Another really heartwarming film. Very sad as well. But yeah, I love this film. Highly recommend that if you've not heard of it or seen it. Great one, that one. Then 2012, we have at 172 minutes, and this has got a great supporting cast. You have Halle Berry, Jim Broadbent, Hugo Weaving, Jim Sturgis, Doona Bay, Ben Whishaw, James D'Arcy, Keith David, Susan Sarandon, Hugh Grant, and more. And that is The Great Cloud Atlas. Match it my face to Tom Hanks. There you go. Great sci-fi film, this one, set across decades and decades. They all play different characters during these decades in these stories, and it's how it all clicks together. A beautiful film, really great film. Highly recommend this, especially if you like sci-fi. Just, it's weird. It's by the Wachowskis. It's very weird and out there, but yeah, I love that one. Then 2013, this one runs at 134 minutes and co-stars Barkhad Abdi, and I think Catherine Keener's in this one as well. It's a Paul Greengrass film, and that is Captain Phillips. Great film. Basically, Captain Phillips he's the captain of this boat which was hijacked in 2009. It was the Maersk Alabama by Somali pirates, and it's just a true story of what happened. And yeah, fantastic, really gripping, edge of your seat thriller. Yeah, one I need to go back to and watch again because it's been a while since I watched that one. Captain Phillips. Then coming up next, we have again from 2013, running at 125 minutes, co-starring Emma Thompson, Paul Giamatti, Jason Schwartzman, Bradley Whitford, Colin Farrell. Fantastic cast. Music by Thomas Newman again. And that is Saving Mr. Banks, a delightful film, all about the making of Mary Poppins, how it was made into a film, how Walt Disney got involved with P.L. Travers, who was the author of the novels, their friendship, I suppose. And yeah, just a really uplifting film, always puts you in a good mood, this one, but also brings a tear to your eye towards the end. Great film, that one, Saving Mr. Banks. Then next up from 2015, we have running at 135 minutes, co-starring Mark Rylance, Amy Ryan, Sebastian Koch, and Alan Alda. Another Spielberg film, Bridge of Spies, fantastic film. This is a thriller set during the Cold War about a lawyer who is sent, basically they capture a German spy, and the Germans capture an American pilot. So Tom Hanks is given the job to try and get their American pilot back safely, negotiate like a deal. And it's a fantastic, again, really tense, well-made thriller. A very underrated film by Spielberg, Bridge of Spies. Then from 2016, there's definitely under the radar. Not heard many people talk about it, but I really like it. I think it's really another really feel-good film. Tom Hanks is the main star in this. I don't think there's many others. Ben Whishaw's in it. Tom Skerritt, so decent. And that is from 2016 at 98 minutes. A Hologram for the King. Love this film. About a man who goes to, I think is it Saudi Arabia, I think. And he's a complete fish out of water. He's there for business, I think, if I remember rightly. And he's trying to stop himself going bankrupt. He's on the verge of bankruptcy. He wants to pay for his daughter's college tuition and make something out of himself. And whilst he's there, he falls in love. It's just a great film, really great film. Highly recommend this if you've not heard it. One of Tom Hanks' best underrated performances, in my opinion. Yeah, that's A Hologram for the King. Then next up, also 2016, running at 96 minutes, co-starring Aaron Eckhart and, is it Laura Linney? Yeah, Laura Linney. And that's Clint Eastwood's Sully, Miracle on the Hudson, based on the true story of the plane that they managed to land on the Hudson safely. Nobody died, and it was considered a miracle. And he was claimed a hero, although at first, obviously, they really griddled him to say whether he could have. It's just such an interesting watch. Just go and watch it if you've not seen it. Tom Hanks is excellent. Great Clint Eastwood film. Sully. Getting towards the end now. Sorry that it's gone on for so long. Hope it's not too long. If you want me to shorten them and not explain them as much going forward, I'm happy to do that. I just want to see how it goes. From 2018 at 115 minutes, co-starring the great Meryl Streep, Sarah Paulson, Bob Odenkirk, Tracy Letts, Bradley Whitford, Bruce Greenwood, and Matthew Rhys. Another Spielberg film. We have The Post. Great film this is, all about the Washington Post trying to get on top of the Watergate leak scandal. Really interesting film. Incredible performances from the two of these guys. Yeah, highly recommend if you've not seen it. Most of the Tom Hanks films are great, so yeah. Then 2019, at 100 minutes, the fourth part. We are getting a fifth one. Toy Story 4. You have any, I don't think this is any, I think Tony Hale plays voices 4K. But yeah, another decent addition. Did it need to be done? No. But is it bad? No. It's still decent, great film. Toy Story 4. Then next up, 4 left. We have from 2020, I think this came out over here, or 2019 in America. Running at 109 minutes, co-starring Matthew Rhys and Chris Cooper. We have A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, based on the life of Fred Rogers, who is not known over here really, but he was a children's entertainer in America during like the 70s, 80s and 90s. Really brought about being kind and all that, and it's about his friendship with the journalist played by Matthew Rhys. And yeah, really heartwarming film. Another great Tom Hanks performance. Yeah, Tom Hanks can do no wrong in my eyes. He's just great in these types of roles. So yeah, that's A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Then next up, we have from 2020, running at 1 hour 58, co-starring Helena Zengel and directed by Paul Greengrass. We have News of the World. Just after the Civil War, it follows Tom Hanks' character, who goes from town to town telling people stories about news from around the world. He crosses paths with this young girl who he agrees to take to the law. So it's kind of a road film about their bond. It's a Western, obviously, as well. Another fantastic Tom Hanks film, I would say. Then we have from 2022, running at 159 minutes, also starring Austin Butler. That is Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. Tom Hanks' performance wasn't great, which is weird to say because he's usually fantastic. His just, yeah, weird performance. But yeah, I enjoyed the film on a whole. I know it wasn't for everyone. Obviously, you can tell what it's about. It's about Elvis's life. And Tom Hanks plays Colonel Tom Parker in this, his manager, who was a bit weird. But yeah, that is Elvis. And then finally, one of his last films. He has had one since, but it's not actually been released anywhere yet. But I am planning on picking it up. But we have the last Wes Anderson film, Asteroid City. Really like this one. I know not everybody liked this, but I enjoyed this. It's like a story within a story. I suppose. Set in a fictional desert town in the 50s. Your typical Wes Anderson stuff. Love this edition as well. I think I showed this off before. You get the Blu-ray. You get some nice cards as well. And a booklet, I think, maybe. Yeah. Decent film, that one. And then obviously, talk about Tom. He did A Man Called Otto, which I really want to get my hands on. Then he did Here, which is the one that I really want to grab when it comes out. And then he's got Wes Anderson's newest film, is the only other film I think he's got coming up. The Phoenician Scheme, which is out early June. So I'll definitely be watching that at the cinema. Because Wes Anderson's just, and I know Sam will agree with this, is one of the best directors out there. Grand Budapest Hotel, one of the greatest films of the last 20 years, in my opinion. Yeah. Just fantastic actor, and he's done so many great films, as evident from the piles here, and the fact that I've been talking for nearly 40 minutes about him, so must have an impression. Like I said, if you want me to make this shorter, and not babble on about each film, let me know, because obviously certain actors have certain filmographies. Tom Hanks's is clearly quite extensive. But let me know what actors you'd like me to show my collection of. Just looking off the top of my head, we've got Denzel, Leonardo DiCaprio, Hugh Jackman, I'd quite like to show off. Dustin Hoffman's a favourite of mine, and I know it's Jodie's favourite as well. Barbara Streisand, although she's not done too many films, so I don't think that video would be very long. Yeah, there's plenty of that. Jake Gyllenhaal is my favourite actor, Meryl Streep. Let me know who you want me to talk about in the next one down below. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always take the time to get back to you. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.